Gill, Exposition of the Bible. We're in Revelation chapter 1, verse 18, reading the verse from the King James Bible. Quote, I am he that liveth, and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And I have the keys of hell and of death. Unquote. Reading John Gill, Revelations 1:18. Quote, I am he that liveth, as the eternal God, who has life in himself, originally, essentially, and derivatively, and is the fountain and author of life to others, who ever lived as the mediator and redeemer, and still does, and ever will, yea, even when he was dead as man. I was dead, he died the death of the cross for the sins of his people, in due time, and but once. And it was but a short time he was held under the power of death, and will never die any more. And behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. He was always alive as God, or he was always the living God, and ever will be, and he is now alive as man, and will forever continue so, and he is alive to God. He lives by him, with him, and to his glory. And he is alive to the benefit and advantage of his redeemed ones, for whom he died. He ever lives to make intercession for them. He rose again from the dead for their justification, lives to make intercession for them. He rose again from the dead for their justification, their being quickened together with him, and their being begotten again to a lively hope, are owing to his being alive, and as their reconciliation is by his death, so their salvation, or the application of it to them, is by his interceding life, and his resurrection is the cause of theirs. This is very fitly said to John, who was fallen as dead at the feet of Christ, and might be to animate him against the fears of death, or whatever he was to meet with on account of Christ, as well as to make himself known unto him who had before known him, living, dying, and risen again. The word Amen is left out in the Alexandrian copy, the Vulgate Latin, the Syriac, and the Ethiopic versions. But it is in others, and is rightly retained, either as an asseveration of Christ to the truth of what is before said, or as an assent of John's unto it, who was a proper witness both of the death and resurrection of Christ. I have the keys of hell and death, or of death and hell, as the words are transposed in the Alexandrian copy, the Colpotensin edition, in the Vulgate Latin, and in all the Oriental versions, agreeably to Revelation 6, verse 8. By which phrase is expressed the power of Christ over both. His power over death is seen in taking away persons by death when he pleases. The instances of Ananias and Sapphira are proofs of this, and in delivering persons from death when near it, as the centurion's servant, Peter's wife's mother, and the nobleman's son of Capernaum, and in raising persons from the dead, as Jared's daughter, the widow of Naaman's son, and Lazarus, when he was here on earth, and in his raising up his own body when dead, and which will also appear in rising all the dead at the last day, and his power over hell, by which may be meant the grave, or the place of the departed, and separated souls, or the place of the damned, and of the devils which are there, will be seen in opening the graves at the time of the resurrection, when death and hell, or the grave, will deliver up the dead in them at his command, in retaining or sending out the separated souls in Hades, and in the opening the doors of hell, and casting in the wicked, and destroying them, soul and body there, and in shutting them up, that they cannot come out from thence, who are once in, and in binding Satan, and casting him into the bottomless pit, and shutting him up there, the key of which he has in his hand, and in preserving his church and people from his power and malice, so that the gates of hell cannot prevail against them. This is an expression of the sovereignty, power, and authority of Christ, and is designed to encourage and support John under his present concern and anxiety of mind about the person he saw in this vision. The key of the grave and the resurrection of the dead is frequently said by the Jews to be one of the keys which are in the hands of the holy blessed God, and his only, not in the hands of an angel or seraphim or any other. Unquote. And John Gill, Revelation chapter 1, verse 18.